You save me, I'm going crazy, I'm slowly fading.
Hey guys, Matthew Morrow with MorrowInvest.com. I'm bringing you today's 2-minute tip of the day. Today's tip is something that I get asked constantly. Everybody, because of these HGTV shows, they want to know how to flip this house, right? That is something that everybody wants to know. People don't like, it's not as glamorous as rental properties, even though my favorite thing is to set up passive income streams by setting up rental properties. That's a very easy thing to do. I mean, you know, in your hometown, wherever you are, don't you think it's probably pretty easy, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home or a small apartment complex? People need a place to live always, right? So but you paint the same thing. It's the Killian beige on the walls, the semi-gloss white trim, you know, laminate flooring or tile. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. It's not very glamorous. What's glamorous is flipping the house and taking something that's ugly into something that's beautiful, right? And people love that. Oh, you're going to make all kinds of money. In my opinion, there's a lot more negatives to flipping houses than there are positives, but we'll run through them real quick. Okay, so let's start with the pros and then we'll end with the negatives. Okay, so pros to flipping a house. Number one, you have low exposure, right? And what I mean by exposure is time-wise, the goal is to flip the place fairly quickly. So you have less than 6 months, hopefully, invested in time. And a lot of people like that because they want to jump in, get paid, and jump out. Right? So they want to make their money fast. They don't want to do a rental property where the place is cash flowing $200 or $300 a month, and you know it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 years, or you know sometimes longer to break even. People don't like that as much. They like the idea of flipping a house because in less than 6 months they've jumped into a market and they've jumped out. Okay. Now let's do a con for this. The con for that same point is, what if you don't sell? So time is a question. There's no magic rule of thumb that's going to make sure that you sell your house. There's so many things that can go right and wrong with a property, you just never know. And we'll talk more about that in a second. All right, so another pro. You get cash. Man, people love that cash, right? They want the idea of making, say, a $200 a month income stream for the year, well, that's only $2,400. But if you do a house right, you might make $10, $15, $20, $30, $50,000 on one deal. And you're in and out, right? So people want that cash. Let me show you a negative to that, though. A negative would be you put yourself in the short-term capital gains. This basically is putting you in the highest tax bracket that there is for anything less than a year. Okay. There's also more rules if you get into flipping houses on a regular basis, and I guess this might be a negative, that you don't want to be a dealer. And a dealer status, you can look that up. You want to make sure that some places, if you start flipping houses on a regular basis, they'll consider you a dealer, and you don't get the tax breaks that you were getting before. A lot of people do not like the idea of they call it fixing toilets. They don't want to deal with tenants, and they don't want to deal with toilets, and they don't want to deal with places where the people have messed their house up, right? They don't ever have to deal with those. Well, when you do a flip, you don't have to deal with a renter, right? You just get in, you get out. However, I think that there are a lot more negatives when it comes to flipping houses than there are pros. And so I'm going to erase this pro column here. And we're going to fill out the rest of this with more cons. Number 4, comps. When you flip a house, you got to hope that you got the comps right. Comps are going to be comparable properties that have sold in that area. Okay, you're going to have to hope that you priced it right. You're going to have to hope that you get the proper buyer that comes along, right? You're going to have to hope that they want what you got. You have to deal with inspections. Okay, so I've listed a few of these: comps, price right, buyer. Well, when you go and you buy a house, there's a lot of hoping that's got to go right. You gotta hope that you timed it right, you timed the market right, you've timed how long it's going to take you. You're really hoping that it's going to sell within, the average days on market might be 120 days in your neighborhood, so you're hoping that you can sell it in less than 6 months. You got to worry about getting short-term gains. You got to worry if you flip too many, are you going to get dealer status? You got to hope that the comps are right. Our banking system is based on a comp model, and so just because there's other houses that are not as nice as yours that have sold in the neighborhood that bring values down, it doesn't mean that your house is worth less, but federal-backed loans, they're based on a comp system. So that's what they're going to use to base off of what they should loan on the next house. So if values go down, they're not going to be able to offer as much money on a house. You got to hope that they find a right buyer, right? There's a lot of people that got burned in 2008 and have moved out of the buyer's market into the rental market. You gotta hope that they want your house. There are tons of houses. Have you driven in just about any neighborhood in America? There are houses for sale all over the place. If you pull up Zillow or Trulia or MLS and look at a map, there are dots all over it, right, with properties for sale. So you have a lot of competition, right? And what does competition do? It inversely brings down price. Competition brings down price, okay? Then inspections. I had an inspection done on a property last year that we were selling, and it held up for 7 months. It took the inspector 6 weeks after seeing the property to get us our inspection back to us. That's something that could be done in a week or 2 weeks. It took him 6 weeks. And that whole process took 7 months. And that was with an approved veteran's loan. They had plenty of money, plenty of assets, great credit. The property was priced under market value. There's a lot that goes into flipping a house. So I have a lot of people that will approach me about wanting to flip, and I personally am not a big flip person. I like the rental income. And that's why personally I like setting up passive income streams in the form of rental properties, because that money comes every single month. Yes, you have bad tenants occasionally that mess things up, but you just make a phone call, it gets repainted, it gets a little bit of new drywall, and it gets cleaned up, and you don't actually have to do the work once you get rolling a few of them. And you can put your sweat equity into it in the beginning, but after a while you don't have to do those things anymore. I hope this video has blessed you. Have a good day.
Yeah. It's just sometimes you feel like you ain't got nowhere to go. And no matter what you do, nobody believes in you. But it gets better, man. You just gotta believe in yourself. And do everything you can do to make it. Yeah.